Shining Sarcophagus is a modern version of Yugi's iconic anime deck he used in a ceremonial duel against Atem. This archetype revamps classic cards, capturing the spirit of the anime while enhancing it with modern gameplay effects. First, we'll take a look at the deck profile, and in the second part of the video showcase some basic combos the deck can do to show you what it's capable of. And now, without any further ado, let's get started.
Alright, first off we're playing 2 copies of the main deck boss monster, Gandora G, the Dragon of Destruction. You can special summon it if you control Shining Sarcophagus. It also gains 300 attack for every banished card. And you can pay half your life points to destroy all other cards on the field, and they all get banished. Then after that it summons a level 7 or lower Shining Sarcophagus monster from the deck and increases its level by the number of cards that were destroyed. And this destruction effect pairs really well with the latest addition to the Shining Sarcophagus deck, Dark Magician, the Magician of Black Magic. This monster can also special summon itself if Shining Sarcophagus is on the field, just like Gandora. And if it is destroyed while a level 5 or higher monster is on the field, like Gandora, it can special summon itself back to the field. Then it can immediately set one spell or trap that mentions Dark Magician from the deck. So we search our Seekers of Dark Magic with this, so we can summon our ultimate boss monster, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, during the opponent's turn. Next, 3 copies of Gadget Trio. This card can search for a Shining Sarcophagus or a spell or trap that mentions it. And we need access to that card as consistently as possible, because this deck does not function without it basically. And for the last Shining Sarcophagus monsters we have one Silent Magician 0 and one Swordsman 0. Silent Magician gains a level every time your opponent draws a card. Silent Swordsman gains a level in every standby phase, and both monsters gain 500 attack for every level gained. And if Shining Sarcophagus is on the field, Silent Magician can once per turn negate the activation of a spell card, and Swordsman can negate the activation of an effect that targets Shining Sarcophagus or a monster that mentions it. And that's it for the Shining Sarcophagus monsters. Now onto the spells. We have of course the main card of the deck, Shining Sarcophagus. This is a continuous spell. It cannot be destroyed by monster effects, so it cannot be destroyed by your own Gandora, really nice. And during the main phase it searches for any card that mentions Shining Sarcophagus, so it basically searches anything in the deck, except for your generic cards. If the opponent special summons from the grave, you can discard a spell, then target one of those monsters to send it back to the graveyard. So a nice little reference to the anime when Yugi revealed Monster Reborn in the Gold Sarcophagus, when Atem reborn Slifer from the graveyard, to then send it back to the grave. So this is the most important card in the deck, and unfortunately also the main weakness of the deck. Because most of your cards require you to have this card on the field to work. So if you do not have access to this one, the deck basically does nothing. So we need to make sure we have this as consistently as possible, and one of the cards that helps us out with that is Future Silence. This card can search for any monster that mentions Shining Sarcophagus, so we can search for Gadget Trio, which can search Sarcophagus. And if you use it during the battle phase, both players draw until they have 6 cards in their hands. Another nice little reference to one of Yugi's cards he was playing in the anime, Card of Sanctity, which he used in a ceremonial duel and was able to activate it during the battle phase to boost the attack of Silent Magician, which is something you can also do with this card. Next, Triple Pot of Prosperity. In my previous Shining Sarc deck profile I mentioned that I've been going back and forth between this one and Pot of Extravagance. I now definitely think Prosperity is the way to go, because this card increases our chances of seeing Sarcophagus significantly compared to Extravagance. And then a couple of one-offs, Turn Silence, Ties That Bind, and Secrets of Dark Magic. Turn Silence is a quick play spell that can increase one of your monsters' level by 3, and also if you chain this card in response to an opponent's monster effect, it can negate that effect. It also has an effect in the graveyard. If one of your Shining Sarcophagus monsters battles, you can banish it to immediately end the battle phase. This is also a reference to a card Yugi used in a duel against Bakura, Turn Jump. This card skipped Gur's battle phase and increased Silent Swordsman's level by 3. Now Ties That Bind is also a retrain from Ties of the Brethren. And Yugi used this card to special summon 2 gadgets straight from the deck in his duel with Atem. But this new version can special summon 2 level 4 or lower Shining Sarcophagus monsters from the hand or deck, but you cannot special summon from the extra deck after this card resolves. So that sounds like a major downside obviously, but we don't go into the extra deck that often, so we have to make sure that we do that before using this card. and we use the Secrets of Dark Magic usually during the opponent's turn to summon out Dragoon, so that does not really conflict with the ties that bind. So that's it for the spells. Up until now we have 21 cards. This archetype does not have a ton of support yet, so you have a lot of room to play hand traps and other good generic staples, like Super Polymerization. Shining Sarcophagus is not an extra deck focused archetype, so you have a lot of room for Super Poly targets. And this card is good for going first and second. Next, there can be only one. This card is very good in the deck because we play a lot of different monster types. We also have 3 Crossout Designator and 1 Called by the Grave. I was not playing Crossouts in my initial version of the deck, but a couple of months later and players are more familiar with the deck and archetype now, and realize that the easiest way to win is to prevent you from getting your Sarcophagus. I lost a lot of games because I just got hand trapped to oblivion and was not able to search for Sarcophagus, which basically means you cannot play the game. That's why I'm maxing out on crossouts and switch to prosperity to increase my chances of my searches going through. Next, the hand traps. 3-dimension shifter. I really don't like playing this card, but the unfortunate truth is that this card really helps you win games you otherwise probably would have lost. And it also has synergy with cards in the deck. Gandora gains attack for every banished card, and Dark Magician's effect even special summons from banished. And then the remaining hand traps, 3 infinite impermanence, 2 Ash, 1 Effect Veiler, 1 Nibiru, and Droll and Lockbird mainly as crossout targets. So this is just what I'm currently playing, but keep in mind you should always change your hand trap lineup and other generic staples based on your local environment. If you don't expect people to play Nibiru or Droll and Lockbirds, take those out and play some other hand traps. And that's it for the main deck. Now onto the extra deck. First we have of course our main boss monster, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, one of the best boss monsters in the entire game. It cannot be destroyed by card effects and neither player can target it with card effects. We cannot use its destruction effect in this particular deck because we do not use normal monsters to summon it. And it can once per turn negate the activation of a card or effect by discarding a card, and then it gains 1000 attack. And with the new Dark Magician we can summon this monster out pretty consistently. Next are Super Poly targets, Garura, Mud Dragon, Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, Earth Golem Ad Ignister, and Yubel the Loving Defender Forever. Next, a small rank 8 package, Draglubion. We can use this monster to summon out either Hope Harbinger to negate a spell card, or Numeron Dragon to help OTK the opponent. There's a really cool combo you can do to make a rank 8, which I'll show you a little bit later in the combo part of the video. And I think it was Yassine who came up with this first a couple of weeks ago, even before the new support came out. Next, a couple of Link 2s, Dark and Lina to help us Link climb into Nightmare Unicorn, or if you have SP you can play that instead. Selene to reborn a spellcaster from the graveyard and link up into Access Code Talker. So those were 14 extra deck cards. As the 15th card I would probably recommend playing Typhon, but I don't have one myself unfortunately, so I've been trying these 4 instead. I think I like Photon Lord the most. You can summon it as your 5th summon of the turn to give you some protection for Nibiru. But you do need an opening hand with a lot of gas, otherwise you would just summon it instead of your Dragoon or Hope Harbinger, which is not something you really want to do. But it definitely came up more than Blackluster Soldier, Underworld Goddess or Zeus, because I don't remember summoning these 3 at all. So for now I'm playing Photon Lord. And that's it for the deck profile. Now on to the combos. Okay, the first combo is a 2-card combo. We need access to Shining Sarcophagus, Gandora and Dark Magician. And there are a lot of different 2-card combos that basically lead to the same end board. I'm going to use Gadget Trio and Dark Magician for this example. So we summon Gadget Trio and search for Shining Sarcophagus and activate it. Then Sarcophagus searches for Gandora because we already have Dark Magician. Then we special summon both because we have Sarcophagus on the field. Next we use Gandora's effect to destroy and banish all cards on the field. Then Gandora special summons Silent Magician 0 as a level 6, so it has 2000 attack. And because Dark Magician was destroyed, it can special summon back onto the field, and then directly sets our Secrets of Dark Magic from the deck. Then during the draw phase of the opponent's turn we can use Secrets of Dark Magic to fusion summon into our ultimate boss monster, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. So with this 2-card combo we have a Spell Negate and an Omni Negate, and the Dragoon is of course untargetable and indestructible by card effects. This is a similar 2-card combo, and for this example we'll be using Shining Sarcophagus and Gandora. We activate Shining Sarcophagus and search for Dark Magician, and then we special summon both onto the field. Next we use Gandora's effect, it destroys the Dark Magician, and special summons our second Dark Magician from the deck, which is now level 8 because Gandora destroyed 1 card. Then our destroyed Dark Magician reborns onto the field, and then it sets the Secrets of Dark Magic. Next we overlay these two into Draglubion and detach to use its effect and summon Hope Harbinger. Then in the draw phase of the opponent we use Secrets again to fusion summon these into Dragoon. So this is basically the same end board as before because we now have Hope Harbinger with the Spell Negate and Dragoon with the Omni Negate. Harbinger is a little better obviously, its attack is probably higher, and it steals the negated spell card as an Xyz material, and it also can redirect an attack to itself. This is an alternative combo you can do to summon out Photon Lord on your 5th summon. You will probably not be able to perform this combo very consistently because you need a lot of cards to do this, but it is really good if you can pull it off, and a lot of the cards are interchangeable, because a lot of the Shining Sarcophagus cards can search each other. So we start off with these 3 and use Shining Sarcophagus to search our second copy of Gandora. Then we special summon these 2 and use Gandora's effect to destroy Dark Magician and special summon another Dark Magician from the deck. Then we can reborn a Dark Magician and set our fusion spell. Now we have 2 level 8s on the field and overlay these to go into Photon Lord as our 5th summon. And then in the draw phase of the opponent we fuse Dark Magician and the Gandora in our hands into Dragoon. So now we have an extra monster negate instead of a spell negate, which is not necessarily better, but we did not even use our normal summon. So we could have Silent Magician in our hand and just normal summon it, or have Gadget Trio and search for Ties That Bind, which could special summon Silent Magician and Silent Swordsman. And that's it for the deck profile and combos. If you want to see the Shining Sarcophagus deck in action, I recently had an epic duel with my brother against Joey's new Flame Swordsman deck, which was a lot of fun. Also let me know in the comments what you think of this updated version of the deck, and I see you later.